Hey, how's it going? Welcome to News Act, Tuesday, 22nd of June 2021. We're looking at the front of the papers. First up, New York Times, choose your fighter in the New York mayor's race. That's today. Down here, California has a lot of money. They're going to use it to pay people's rent arrears. COVID vaccination story about Afghanistan. Civilians making militias as the Taliban attack. New York Times International Edition, picture from India. There's a thing called mucormycosis, type of black fungus with a fatality rate of 50%. It's affecting a lot of people who had COVID. Opinion pieces, one about Biden and the bishops. Over on the right, something about Ethiopia. Down the bottom here, US examines the secrecy of art sales. The opacity of the market is facilitating the flow of dirty money, experts fear. That's really not news. That's been the art market since forever. Wall Street Journal, variants running rampant in South America. Bitcoin drops as Beijing gets tough. Okay, line go down. Down the bottom, some story about the makers of Marlboro. They're being accused of withdrawing their vapes off the market at the request of Juul so they could have a monopoly. Financial Times, Laschet warns against Cold War with China. That's a story from Germany there. This guy here, Spanish pardon. Sanchez plans to free Catalan separatists despite objections. Okay, they're going to pardon these Catalan separatists, quote unquote, who were tried on charges including sedition for organising an independence referendum. Obviously, the right wing are losing their shit, and so are the court that handed down the sentences. Not much else there, some kind of money talk I don't understand. USA Today, tornado warning. Okay, threat growing of more severe tornadoes more frequently. Democrats face challenge and defund the police. No shit. Fate of voting rights bill now in the hands of Senate. Okay, that's still churning along nice and slowly. National Post from Canada, there's a picture of Ryan Reynolds getting his job and his wife getting a job. They're giving out saying, quote unquote, I don't understand Canada. Yeah, me and you both. Basically, if you're Canadian, you don't have to quarantine if you're double vaxxed, but if you're American, you do. Something about mineral wars on the left. Evidence of forced labour goods in Canada. I guess that's everywhere. The Australian story from yesterday about the Nationals change of leadership. China-led ambush on the health of the reef. So that's from Australia. The Australians are claiming that this group from the UN hasn't visited the reef since 2012. The big point, I think, is that if the reef is downgraded in status, that's what they're trying to do, it would affect 64,000 jobs and $6.4 billion in tourism. Story down the bottom left about Pfizer vaccines, paid miscarriage leave for parents. Global Times from China, picture of people celebrating Yoga Day. Warnings of possible third wave in India. West humiliates itself with Xinjiang smear. Okay, China losing their marbles over the Western countries continuing what they say are groundless genocide allegations. They're also criticising the Uyghur Tribunal, which has been ran in Britain here in testimony from people, and it's chaired by Jeffrey Neese, who is the lead prosecutor in the trial of Slobodan Milosevic. Irish Examiner, some story about footballers, true crime, beating people up in the street and kind of getting away with it with a fine. No threat to outdoor pub drinking. Down the bottom, travel restrictions are anti-family. Okay, it's Ryanair going to stand up and tell the government that what they're doing is bad. Picture of a funeral for that girl who died after falling off a horse, RIP. Delta variant story. Taoiseach seeks truce in escalating sausage war, for the love of God. Ban on fur farming coming in. Irish Independent, human interest story. Same story about the footballers. Delta variant, Irish Daily Mail. What the experts do to stave off dementia. I just stay off Twitter. Story about an increase in domestic violence. True crime story. Ian Bailey, look it up if you don't know about it. The Guardian, Tory MPs accused of adding fuel to culture war. An education report. Yeah, the Tories came out and said something like white working class pupils have been let down by a system that condemns them to falling behind, and they also said that the term white privilege was divisive and that white people were being unfairly discriminated against. Quite telling that they really just care about the terminology and not the root causes of things like poverty. There's a woman enjoying Stonehenge, the solstice yesterday. Brexit blow for British television as EU cuts airtime. Okay, EU not going to show as much British programming. TV firm protected executive after sexual assault. Okay, some people accused the guy who worked on the Crown of sexual assault. The English Times, some bullshit story about the royals, which is basically an ad for a book by the guy who was the chief historian on the Crown. He also wrote a book about Saudi Arabia back in the 80s, and he became friends with Jamal Khashoggi, who was, of course, murdered in the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul. There's a good film about that called The Dissident. Check it out. Something about quarantine rules. There's two footballers hugging. Supposedly the lad on the left has COVID, and now the lad on the right and another lad in the English team has to quarantine. Pretty good strategy to keep them out of the game. Over on the right, John Bercow asked Jeremy Corbyn for a peerage after number 10 snub. Okay, John Bercow, he defected to Labour. He was the Chief Speaker of the House. Usually they nominate them for a peerage, but didn't happen for him. Independent, 4 stories across top. Fossil fuels, Dominic Cummings, eating bugs. Football, same story about the Brexit cut. There's the Queen or whatever, looking very sad. Same story about the white privilege thing that the MP said. Daily Tory graph, footballers hugging. Russians watch as jets fly first carrier mission. Okay, the HMS Queen Elizabeth, which cost £3 billion, is like out in the East Mediterranean, and this is the first time they've been launching sorties from an aircraft carrier since they bombed the Balkans in the 90s. Those jets cost £26,000 an hour to fly. Just for a bit of comparison, I think the median wage in the UK is £29,000. Okay, Daily Express, same plot about, or so-called EU plot to ban British television, football, some celebrity stuff, Daily Mail, celeb stuff, Afghan translators being flown back to Britain, Daily Mirror, football, Diana, football COVID story, Metro, thirst posting, Euros COVID story, Daily Star, thirst posting, Wokest Link. This woman still presented a show called The Weakest Link, but she's now apparently anti-woke. So why call her the Wokest Link? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, thankfully that's it for the day. If you want to stay off corporate or even state media, just click the link in the description. Alright, thanks, good luck.